Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the Pre-Bandai exclusive or P-Bandai exclusive HG Gundam Lfrith pre-production model that we saw in the Which from Mercury prologue. Also, technically in the main series we did see this in some sort of a big giant like storage hangar getting destroyed, but you get my point. Alright, so this is the Pre-Bandai kit. So once again, a lot of people were hoping that this would be released as regular or just, you know, exist, and we finally got it, although we really got it very late than we expected. You would think that they would release at least or take pre-orders of this or release it if they were to be regular, maybe when the the prologue was actually going. But yeah, after the series ended and then after like some time, they finally taking pre-orders for this thing. Alright, so this review is going to be somewhat simple because I will not be going over the articulation on the main unit, although I will be going over the articulation on the backpack since that's a new thing as well. So let's get on to the review right away. So I will be mostly doing comparisons with the HG Lfrith, the regular version as well. So alright, so as usual, let's see what we get in terms of components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the main unit itself. Definitely loving the colors as well. I have always been a sucker for like mass production types, prototypes, or in this case what they call the pre-production models as well. And then equipment wise, this is all you get. So technically you do get the rifle. This is like the longer version, and there's the one that you can't really attach anything, although I do like the simplistic design of this and as well. So yeah, big fan of this rifle. And then here we have the backpack, and obviously the backpack has some extra articulation to show off. But once again, if you're wondering, does it come with those small like flying mine bits that we saw in the series where they would launch in from these backpacks? And the answer is yes, and you can actually open them up this way and we'll reveal 5 of them. And then on the other side as well, now of course in the prologue it was very confusing where they were opening these, but yeah, it's not the sides, it's actually the front and back section, and then there's 5 each, so there's 10 on each section, so that means each part, so that means they have 20 of these mines going on here. Now the only downside I would say is that these green sections are all stickers, so you have to apply stickers on these. But yeah, but the good news is that these are all separate pieces, although it's very difficult to pull out one. If I can even pull out one, let me give it a shot. Come on, there we go. You can actually pull these ones out and then reveal on the other side. Now the interesting part, these are actually, you can see there's a hole there for a peg to connect here. Now obviously there is the small peg and then the 3 clips here for each section, but you also get the opened up version as well. So this would be, they would fly out, you control them, and then they will latch onto the enemy and then explode. So this is the opened up version. So here obviously this also requires a sticker, which I'll show you guys later. But on the other side this is a peg. So I'm not sure what they were going for here, but yeah, that was the only odd thing I've noticed about. So anyway, we have 20 of the closed versions, and then for the, let me just close this actually. Now, although I will say the build on these canisters are not ideal, I will be honest on that. And then for the opened up versions, you actually get you don't get 20 of them. Obviously, you do get 6 of these, kind of an interesting number, but once again you do get 6 of these as well. So yeah, that's the only part that was kind of tricky. And then here we have the sticker sheet. Now it may look like a lot, but you don't actually use everything depending on how you do this. So obviously the mobile suit actually uses these eye stickers, the head camera stickers, the beam rifle stickers, and obviously the chest you have to choose whether to go with the blank or the system activated version as well. And then here we have all the green stickers that you apply to the mine, so the closed ones, so you get 20 of them. And then for the opened up version, you have a choice. You can go with the green or the red one, so your choice, because I believe when it's activated it's green, and then right before it explodes the light turns into red, so that's why they have these. And then we have these stickers for the knee armor, which I kind of thought it was like unnecessary, so I did not apply it, but I will show where it's supposed to go as well. And then obviously being Pre-Bandai kits, usually there's some leftover parts most of the case, so let's see what we got. So let me just make some space here. And then here we only get 2 plates. So number 1 obviously is the head part. So because I will be showing a simple comparison, but once again Obviously, because the head is much more simple, you don't have those extra fins on the side here. The top section, I haven't actually done any straight direct comparisons here, but once again, you do get a leftover part there, and then a little leftover part chest piece here. Although I think this one is exactly the same that was used on here, because I really couldn't tell the difference. And then obviously for here now, obviously since we're using a different rifle, you don't actually use this as well, so which is why it's a leftover piece. And then here we have the chest piece. While if you do a one-to-one direct comparison on the mobile suit, the chest may look exactly the same, but the part here actually that's used on the pre-production model is a little bit different. Although the end results may look very similar, but the actual part here is a slightly different design here. So just want to point that out. Alright, so before we go over the equipment, let's do a quick comparison with the previous unit, or kit, whatever. Yeah, it's kind of confusing when you put it that way. Alright, so let's do a quick comparison here. Obviously, other than the colors, one of the biggest difference would be the heads here. So when we look at the head, obviously the Gundam Lfrith, this one, I'm just gonna call this the regular version. So obviously has the side antennas here, while the other one doesn't have that as well. It still uses the clear black piece kind of thing on the forehead as well. And then other than that, the actual head, they kind of look very similar, or at least on mine. But once again, kind of tricky to tell. To tell the difference, at least on the naked eye. But I can definitely tell when you look at the back section, you can see the details are slightly different here. You can see there's more lining here as well. So I guess that because of that, that's why we have the leftover piece of this guy as well. And once again, the head still uses the big green chunky piece inside, which also becomes not only the eyes but also the head camera as well. Although even despite the greenness, they tell you to put these stickers on top of them, so this time I actually did, and they look pretty good with the extra shine going on there. Alright, other than that, so like I said, when you look at the chest, the end results are pretty much looks the same, but the actual inner part are slightly different in terms of design. They still have the same structure, but just a different part design for the white chest here as well. And then while this one actually has those extra stickers for those eye looking things on the chest, this one did not actually have those stickers. So yeah, other than that, the arms are pretty much identical. The shoulders are also pretty much identical, even the part here as well that goes onto the side. And then even the leg detail, everything is pretty much identical. Once again, you have the sticker I didn't apply here. They're supposed to have a light gray color here. Once again, like this, but instead of pink, you have the light gray. So once again, kind of felt unnecessary, and I was already satisfied with the way how this looks as well. Even the feet structure are pretty much identical, so be careful because the ankles are not ball joints. They're using those C-clip type things for some reason on these kits, so do be careful. And when you look at the back here, even the backpack connector is identical from here. So technically, you can slap on the Lfrith's like backpack with his shield bits onto this guy as well, and this guy's backpack onto here because it has the exact same peg length as well. So it is compatible for those who are curious. Now, I do not own Gundam Aerial, so I'm not really too sure about that equipment as well, although it's pretty much as long as you have the shield, you're supposed to be good to go. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the comparison. So let me just slap this back onto the backpack, and let's see what we got. So before I attach the backpack, so here we have the backpack. Very simple looking design here, and once again you can open these sections up. Although building these pods weren't exactly fun because their structure isn't, I would say, not ideal. They're not unstable, but once again, they're not too stable at the same time. And then opening up does require that you have to, split this up open as well. So once again, they did a pretty good job here as well. Now, once again, I know some people always want to have like these action bases or connectors that they can set, display these kind of bits separately. Once again, there is a way with a specific action base with specific joints, but once again, it's gonna get messy in the long run. Anyway, so yeah, so we have this part that can rotate 360 because it's obviously on a peg like that, and then we can also turn this 90 degrees, almost 90 degrees. Let's just put 90 degrees like this, fore and up and down as well. And then obviously this part itself is connected as a ball joint, so 360 rotation is possible here. So once you have this thing on the backpack, I will mention it does become a little bit back heavy. So matching the balance is going to be very tricky. So what you need to do is that you have to basically like balance out the overall weight. You have to move this midsection around, and then also rotate this a little bit so that this guy can stand without falling on to the back. Now it is possible, I've done it before, and make sure the feet are flat to the ground, because this is not a ball jointed feet. Do not put force like a ball jointed. Do not force down the unit like downwards, or you're gonna damage the C type joint there. So make sure you have everything on place. So once again, on the backpack, it can stand on its own, so no big deal as well. And since if you want to have it airborne, you can use the action-based connector there. And then also finally, you have the beam rifle. So beam rifle can connect to the hand, no problem. No separate trigger finger is needed. And then once again, you have the scope for the camera up and down. There's actually a smaller one over there for some reason, but yeah. And then yeah, and the outer part looks pretty cool. So I actually really like the long profile here. I actually wish that instead they would added one more hand with the open style hand, so that you can hold this with two hands or something like that, but that's just me. And that is pretty much it. So once again, if you were really wanting to have this specific version, you do have a chance now. Now I know it's not the best news for everybody, because it's P-Bandai, you know, there's always scalpers, and sometimes it's just difficult to get it depending on where you live, but that's just the way how it is. I'm just glad that this thing exists as a official model kit as well. Now there are people who already bought a ton of these and then recolor this. Now coloring wise, you can technically recolor this guy to make it look like this. It is technically possible. I've seen many people do that. Now the only tricky part would be the backpack. So because if I have to say, if you can pass over the small details, the only tricky part is the backpack and maybe the rifle. But other than that, you should be able to at least replicate to some degree here. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the review. So once again, I'm really glad they released this. And yes, I have pre-ordered the other unmanned unit P-Bandai kit as well. For those who know what I'm talking about, you get the idea. So the only tricky part I would say is that the backpack makes this very back heavy, so make sure you have to balance the kit on time to time. And then if you're having it airborne, you should have no problem as well. And then once again, these parts are all separate mines, so yeah, there are ways to display them if you want to do so, because if you at least the closed up ones, you can have a set of multiple action bases connectors and then plug it here, or if you want to have the open ones, that's going to be more tricky. Anyway, if you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. This was the simple review of the HD Gundam Lfrith pre-production model. Once again, pretty much the same build and structure with small detail changes with a new backpack and rifles. That's the best way I can tell. And once again, one thing I forgot to mention, like in the that we saw in the prologue, this thing does not actually have any close combat weapons like a beam saber. That was the part I guess I should have mentioned. But it was like in the show, so no complaints there. Anyway, if you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and maybe reviews out. So please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.